I've played a lot of puzzle games. I love puzzle games. I don't love all of them, as will become clear. But let's just get into it. Okay, Octogram. So this is a Jack Lance game. This is one of the last Jack Lance games, R.I.P. And it's one of my favorites. We'll get to this with Lingo, which I also included. But Octogram is basically the witness with words. That's how I think about it. I love how well it explores that concept. It's almost certainly my favorite witness like that's not the witness. Um, it's frustrating sometimes, uh, but I stuck it through and 100%ed it. I like it a lot. I think A tier. Also, I'm not going to do like within tier rankings. We're just gonna do the tiers. Okay. That's gonna be enough. This is Vexed Edit, another Jack Lance game. This is kind of the first one that really blew up. This is the first Jack Lance game that I found out about. Um, I like it. I kind of blew through it and didn't think that the experience of playing it was that memorable. Yeah, I'm gonna throw Vexed Edit in B tier. I think some people would differ with this. A lot of people seem to really like it when it came out, but it's one of my favorite puzzle script games, honestly. But puzzle script games do tend to struggle to hit the top tiers for me, I would say. Enigmash, another Jack Lance game. Actually, this is one of the first games I reviewed, and I think I gave it a 7 out of 10. I was doing the scores and everything. I think I gave it a 7 out of 10. I remember deliberating between 7 and 8, and I think I gave it a 7 and I regret it and I should have given it an 8. I'm going to put it in A tier. This is, by the way, the game that got him hired to work on Order of the Sinking Star. Jonathan Blow played this game, and the concept of this game is very clearly related to what they're doing with Order of the Sinking Star. And the concept is like mashing a bunch of different puzzle script games together, and like the borders of the areas like matter to the puzzles. Like you're going from one area into another, and the mechanics change when you move between areas or when you push boxes between areas or whatever. Um, Really, really interesting game. Yeah, really, really interesting concept. There are some things that are annoying about it because it's in puzzle script. This is the era where Jack Lance was like pushing at the boundaries of puzzle script of what puzzle script can do. Right. He worked with other kinds of game creation tools at different points, but there was a phase where he was really trying to do things in puzzle script that were not um, necessarily really supported. And he actually has a game called Pushing It. I don't know if I included that here, but he has a game called Pushing It where the joke of the game is he's pushing the puzzle script engine to do like really broken stuff. And I do like that game as well. But okay, where's my egg? That feels like a C tier to me. I just talked about it. Just talked about it, so I'm not going to talk about it again. Go watch the review if you want to hear me talk about that. This is Skipping Stones to Lonely Homes. It's one of the games that is the foundation for Order of the Sinking Star, Jonathan Blow's new game. And the mechanics are very interesting, as you'd expect from that. The mechanics have a lot of potential, but yeah, I just don't think there's. Yeah, I don't know. The the reveals of the different interactions were surprising, but it's a pretty short game, and I don't know. It's been so long since I played it, but something about Draknek's puzzle design style a lot of the time doesn't totally do it for me, and this game somehow fell into that category for me. But I like the concept, and kind of same thing for Mirror Isles. Again, it's one of the games that's forming the foundation for Order of the Sinking Star. And again, the concept is interesting, but the game itself was not particularly memorable for me. Um, Also, one thing that I want to highlight here, we were just talking about building mental muscles and stuff like that. Like, looking back at the ways in which your brain has changed, or the way that you interact with games, or the way that you do anything has changed over the years. Like I said, I've gotten a lot better at puzzle games over the years. And I do wonder with a lot of these games how different my experience would be if I played them for the first time now. Like having played all these other games that I've played, but play this for the first time now. So like I really think the order matters. Like I really learned how to think uh, slowly over the course of playing many of these games. And yeah, I just have the sneaking suspicion that my experience with a lot of these games would be pretty different. Okay, we're getting through all of the Order of the Sinking Star related games. So Promised, I think I'm gonna put D tier. It feels a little harsh. I think I'll put a C tier. Okay, so Promised, I don't know, not particularly memorable to me. Again, I like the mechanics. I think it's a great pick for Order of the Sinking Star. Wait, this is not Promised. This is this is Promised. This is Heroes of Sokoban. So honestly, I think the same is going to be true for all of these Sinking Star games. I think the mechanics have potential, but the games themselves were not that inspiring to me. I think I'm going to put them all in C tier, except for Promise 2, which I'm going to put in B tier. Promise 2 is so different from Promised 1, it's crazy. I mean, in theory, Promised 1 has the framing to be something like Promise 2, but it's too easy, I think, to just fumble through it like a normal puzzle game. Promise 2 has this thing where like everything is one giant puzzle and everything affects everything else, and you can get soft locked and have to reset back to the checkpoint that was a long time ago, and you have to like solve all of these puzzles and constantly be thinking about, is this reversible? Am I if you want to try something, you want to think about, is this reversible? Do I have a way of undoing this if I need to? And yeah, you have to think about the whole thing. You have to think about the map holistically in a way that's very unique. So even though I found it frustrating and tedious at times, the uniqueness puts it in B tier, I think. And again, the mechanics are interesting. This for me brought out the potential. There are some good puzzles in this game that brought out the potential and that I saw in the first game, but didn't really feel when I played it. Cube, this was an incredibly forgettable game for me. This is one of the ones that I played for like 2 hours in like 2008, so I don't know what to say about it. Very forgettable. I honestly wonder if I should put it in F, but I think I'm going to save F for things that actively upset me in some way. Cube is just super forgettable. Yeah, that's a great point. River says, I suspect a lot of these you'd enjoy less if you played them now because you would have absorbed the ideas in them from games they influenced. Yeah, but some of the more unique ones, like I wonder this for Steven's Sausage Roll. Like if I would enjoy Steven's Sausage Roll more now if I were like now that I'm better at solving puzzles. Because I mean, Steven's Sausage Roll obviously influenced things though as well, but the actual set of mechanics in Steven's Sausage Roll is really unique. So I wonder if that would, yeah, I don't know. Danganronpa. I don't know why I included this, to be honest with you. What was I thinking? This is not really a puzzle game, but you know, I think, well, okay, like this game has other stuff going on. I guess I included this because I included Phoenix Wright, but Phoenix Wright to me feels much more like an actual puzzle game that you actually have to use your brain. Danganronpa is like so easy that it solves itself. Like it tells you the answer. I don't remember ever struggling in the puzzle part of Danganronpa. And then there's like a big dating sim part that I guess you can kind of skip that though. Anyway, there's all this other crap, and to me it was like so easy though that it wasn't even a puzzle, the game at all. So I feel like I have to put it in F tier. Although honestly, I there are things that are charming about it, right? There are things that are funny about it. If we're rating it as a puzzle game, I'm putting it in F tier. But if I'm rating it as just a game in general, I'd probably put it in D tier. I apologize for including this game, honestly, but I'm going to leave it in F because I don't know if anything else is going in F. Tetrabot & Co., another game that I played like 15 years ago. So I don't know. This is like this was like a notable puzzle game at the time that like I feel like has been completely forgotten. It's got some interesting mechanics and stuff, but I just find it's too forgettable. Nothing about it was super special, I think. I don't know. Again, I wonder if I came back to it now. Fish fillets. This is like notoriously the hardest puzzle game ever. It's pretty old. It's from like 2004, 2006 or something like that. And so it's kind of got that old puzzle design style where they'll just throw you to the wolves. Like they don't even consider the possibility of caring about the player experience in a Jonathan Blow-ish way. Like red herrings everywhere. Like they're pulling nasty tricks. They're like putting these massive complicated puzzles that like, I don't know, like this, these are good things, I think, for the time. For the time, like you might get one game, you know, this might be the only puzzle game you play for years, right? And so when good puzzle games are scarce, you kind of want them to last longer and absorb more attention and fuel obsession like that, right? And it's designed to support that kind of play. And so I respect it for how it's designed for the time, but for coming at it from a modern player, I didn't think that its mechanics were interesting enough to justify the length of the game, the amount of time that it would have taken me to get through the game. I played maybe half of it. And by the way, if I recall correctly, it doesn't have an undo button. It's you have to like get a mod to get undo, which I did. I did get the mod to get undo. Anyway, I'm gonna put it in B tier. I respect it a lot. I wish I liked it more because some of the puzzles are so crazy that you just have to admire them. Honestly, I'm tempted to go back to it and play it again someday, but it's a big time commitment. It just only gets harder as it goes on. It's just crazy. Hardest puzzle game I've played by far. Filament, super forgettable. Super forgettable, man. Like this, yeah. The secret layer is like so exactly the witness, but worse. It really bothers me. The golem, I think I put it in the fish fillets category. Even though it's a modern game, it's not too concerned with having an original, with being original, having new ideas. To me, like I like it when a game is really, really hard and the puzzles take me forever to think about, but I'm thinking about new things that I haven't seen in other games before. So like Snakebird and especially Sneckbird um, are good examples of that. Like some of those puzzles get crazy hard, but it feels worth it to think about, to spend that amount of time thinking about this thing that is new to me. Like I don't so much like something like the Golem where the mechanics are, there's not much to the mechanics that I haven't seen in other games before. So it feels a little bit more like um, puzzle for the sake of the puzzle, which some people obviously like, but it's not really for me. But I did appreciate the difficulty still, and there are some surprises, some mechanical surprises in it. It's just not as dense as I would like. I think, yeah, I think B tier is appropriate. I respect it a lot. The Room, I don't know. This is like, this was, I guess, cool back before escape rooms. Nowadays, it would probably be lame. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll keep it in D tier. Pretty forgettable to me. Like this type of puzzle just in general doesn't do much for me. You're just kind of messing around with objects until something happens. Yugo Puzzle, I'm gonna throw up an A tier. This is the sequel to Jelly No Puzzle, and it's an interesting kind of sequel. It's like redoing the mechanics in a different way. It's like if we took one aspect of how this game works and changed it, and then just made the whole game again. So like a lot of the game feels like repeat content from Jelly No Puzzle, but then, well, the beginning part of the game feels like that, but then it gets into stuff that's like surprisingly different. And I just love this guy's puzzle designs so much. They're just really inspired, and yeah, he has a way of making puzzles that are really scary, but also constrained, so that you look at a puzzle and it seems really hard and overwhelming, but there are ways to slowly deduce your way to the solution if you are thinking about the mechanics in the right way. And these mechanics are very easy to think about. So yeah, I found it very fun. Jelly No Puzzle, first, I don't know why this image is so, I totally failed to find a good image for this game, I guess. I'm putting it in S tier. I love Jelly No Puzzle. they're mogging. Yeah, Jelly No Puzzle is frame mogging, and you know what? It earned it. It's a banger, especially for the time, man. Like when I went back and played Jelly No Puzzle for the second time, after Steven Sausage Roll and all these other games came out, like it was really striking to me how much this game like originated. Like I really think the puzzle design style, I mean, Braid was really important for defining modern puzzle game design, but I think Jelly No Puzzle was a lot more important than people realize, for bringing that into Sokoban. And yeah, like I think a lot of the Sokoban games that followed this owe a lot to it. And yeah, it's like still underappreciated. This is a free game. Like if you like hard puzzle games, you should go play it. It's a super dense game. Like every level has its place. And yeah, there are tutorial levels that feel like maybe they could have done something a little bit better there. There's also a limited undo, which is kind of something, it feels very of its time in that way, but I think it's really, really good. Some just really satisfying puzzles in there. Magic Cube. I feel weird about this one because I played it pretty recently. I was enjoying it quite a bit at first, but it started getting really stale, and something about the puzzle design stopped working for me at some point later on. Maybe it was just getting repetitive in terms of the ideas and just kind of getting more complicated in a Talos principle-y kind of way. I'm not sure. Yeah, I thought I was gonna like Magic Cube more than I did it. I like that it's got this kind of Sokoban but in real time thing going on, and it's got a weird brain feel because of that. Um, and because of the way because of certain things about the mechanics and the framing of this game, like and the structure of this game, like it really made me feel like a wizard in a kind of way. I'm doing the stupid game critic thing that I was just talking about, game reviewer thing. But look, I don't have time to go deep on all this stuff right now. We need to get a move on. Zero Player. I just wrote about it a lot. I'm tempted to put it in S tier, but I think I'm gonna put it in A tier for me. I wrote about why for me I think it doesn't hit quite as hard as it probably does for some people. I suspect for some people this is an S tier. It's very, very unique in a lot of ways, but I think in the ways that matter to me, in a kind of abstract way, it maybe wasn't as unique as you might expect because of weird experiences that I've had with other games like like going super super deep on Syncopause. But Zero Player is an amazing game. I admire it a lot. I just wrote a lot of kind words about it, so I won't get too deep into that again. Crypt. So Crypt is the only Michael Bro game on this list. It's the game that inspired Promised. I think I have to put it in A tier. This is a game that I didn't totally love when I played it. I liked it, but didn't love it when I played it. But I've come to admire it more over time. And I think I have to put it in A tier. It's a really spoilable game, and I don't want to talk about it. But it's a very unique, kind of unhinged puzzle game. Michael Bro is just a true artist, and there are just things that fit together nicely about this game that are beautiful. And yeah, great game. Pipe Push Paradise. I think that's a C tier for me. I kind of thought that the concept would be more interesting to me, but it somehow wasn't. I don't know if it's I forget this designer's name, but he's the same guy that made Bonfire Peaks and Hiding Spot and stuff like that. Corey something. Yeah, I don't know if it's his puzzle design style or his puzzle curation style or sequencing style or whatever. Like probably all of those things. Like doesn't really do it for me somehow. But yeah, it's been a while. Can of Wormholes. I'll go B. I just talked about this with the Matthew Matosis because Matthew Matosis picked it as one of his favorite games of the 2020s so far, and I like it a little less than that. I talked about how, like, to me, I think because I've played so many other puzzle games, if I hadn't played so many other puzzle games, I'd probably value it a little higher. But yeah, it's not quite as original as you might think if you haven't played like Snakebird. Honestly, the one that I just talked about as well, Pipe Push Paradise, has a lot to do with the mechanics of Can of Wormholes. So yeah, it was a really fun. It was a fun game. I enjoyed playing through it, and I liked that it let me go off route in a certain way, which you saw if you watched the stream. I like did things in an intentionally hard order because I wanted to make the game harder for myself, and that was fun. Snekbird, I think I got to do A tier. I mean, it was my number one game of last year, number one game that I played last year. I wrote about it a lot already, but yeah, love this game. But there are a lot of things that I really don't like about it. There is an entire world that I think I would have cut from the game if it were me in charge. And yeah, I don't know what's up with the order. Let's do Snakebird. Let's do Snakebird first. Oh, it feels bad to put Snakebird in S and not Snekbird though. Do I like Snekbird that much? I really had an amazing experience with some of those late game puzzles, but a lot of the game just didn't need to be there. But I don't know. I did get through it, but I was a little bit fatigued. I think I would have been a lot less fatigued when I got to the really hard puzzles if I hadn't had to play through a bunch of weak puzzles. And yeah, there's also specific puzzles, even in the parts of the game that I like. There are specific puzzles that do things that kind of bothered me, kind of annoyed me. It's hard. It's hard when a game is really amazing in some ways and not good in other ways. But I think I got to go A tier. But yeah, Snakebird, the original, is very dense, and it just feels like the perfect set of levels for that game. It's your first time experiencing these mechanics, which it's just the most amazing set of mechanics in a game ever. Like, it's the most elegant um, puzzle rule set that you could possibly imagine. Like, it's so good. It's so genius. It facilitates puzzle solving from every angle, like by hiding a lot of interesting implications and consequences and interactions within that simple move set, and by being easy to control and easy to think about, and by interacting with the level designs in a way that makes for a wide variety of interesting types of deductions that you can make in the levels. Like, the levels are very deducible. You can look at the levels, and this is similar to Jelly No Puzzle. You can look at the levels and make deductions very, very easily compared to a lot of games. And yeah, the mechanics really do a lot to facilitate that. Anyway, yeah, amazing game. This game blew my mind when I played it. And even though I actually played it after, I played it after playing The Witness and Steven's Sausage Roll, and it still completely blew my mind. Logic Bombs. Logic Bombs is like a B or C tier to me. I think it's a C tier. I just fundamentally the design approach for the game doesn't work for me. I wrote about this on Twitter. It's like it's designed to be like a comfy puzzle solving game and like a serious puzzle solving game at the same time. Like, comfy, when I say comfy puzzle solving game, I mean something like daily vanilla Sudoku or Picross or something like that, where you kind of know all the rules and you're just going through, you're just executing the rules that you already know how to use. And when I mean serious puzzle game, I mean something that more to my taste, where something like Snakebird, where the new levels are supposed to always be teaching you something new. You're supposed to be learning something all the time, figuring out a new type of interaction, figuring out a new thing, a new trick all the time. And Logic Bombs kind of straddles these two types of design in a way that doesn't work for me. Like, the fact that you don't know whether you're missing something interesting or whether you just need to scan the grid more, like in daily Sudoku, it makes me not want to think more because it doesn't feel worth the effort to think more. It makes me, I'm torn between these two different modes of interacting with the game, and my brain, my subconscious mind resists thinking hard about figuring out new mechanics and stuff like that, because I feel like in all likelihood I'm just missing something stupid and I need to scan the grid more, and I just don't like scanning the grid more. And as the game goes on, it becomes more about that, and it conflicts with the interesting part of the game more as the game goes on. So yeah, it's a really well put together game and stuff, and I obviously like Matthew Matosis a lot, so I feel bad putting it in C tier, but I think that's right for me. It's D tier? No, it's not D tier for me. I like the early part of the game quite a bit. D tier is kind of crazy. All right, Leap Year. I'm going to include the DLC. It's like borderline A, B tier. I'm tempted to put it in A just because I like the concept so much, but it was a little like easy for me in the base game, and then the DLC was like hard in a way that I am not a huge fan of, even though I did write about what I do like about it. I mean, I think I agree that it's almost perfect for what it is, but it's not my favorite type of thing. Neither the base game nor the DLC is my favorite type of thing, I would say. Yeah, there were like a couple of tricky moments in the base game that I wish the rest of the game was a little more like that. So I think I'm gonna keep it in B tier. It's really tough. I almost feel like it deserves A tier. I kind of feel like it deserves A tier, but I don't know. Superland, super forgettable. I don't understand why people like this game so much. Scribblenauts Unlimited, I'm gonna drop it in F tier. This is the character action game of puzzle games, related to what I was saying before. Scribblenauts should have its own tier. Look, I don't know. I'm kind of joking putting this in F tier. I should probably be in D tier, honestly. But it's like the character action game of puzzle games. It gives you like so many tools that like are annoying to figure out what the good tools are, and then once you figure out what the good tools are, the game is like kind of solved, and there's like no middle ground where it's like actually interesting puzzle solving. That's what I remember, at least. I played it 15 years ago, probably. Elekhead, just another really solid. If it's not clear, like B tier and above, I like would comfortably recommend, at least like to the right person, and like I enjoyed my time with it and it felt very much worthwhile. Like all of these games, Fish Fillets maybe a little a little less, but like I admire the game. I'm glad I played it. Maybe I should drop Golem down a little bit. If I'm considering BC the kind of threshold of whether it was really super worth playing, I think I should drop Golem down. So yeah, let's do that. Elekhead, very solid. Yeah, just like a short action platformer. He recently came out with the game OOO, which has gotten a lot more attention and very deservedly so. It's a good puzzle game for like more casual puzzle game fans. That still also works for people like me who like more hardcore puzzle games. But yeah, if you like OO, you should go back and play Elekhead as well. I think it's just as solid. I probably prefer OO slightly, but I think both are really good. Hex Cells, I just picked one of the Hex Cells games. This is much more in the comfy puzzle game kind of style. I'm not that into it. Patrick's Parabox. This is an interesting game because it's just too easy. It's just way too easy front to back for me. And I feel like for most people, like it's a very easy game compared to typical puzzle games. But you know, that probably makes it really good for some people. People who struggle to get into most puzzle games might like it more, and might kind of see some of the appeal of a more interesting Sokoban game, which typically would be too hard for them. So I admire it, but I really don't like it. I admire it, but I really didn't enjoy it. And ooh, I'm putting same tier as Elekhead. I liked the base game less than Elekhead, but I liked the bonus stuff a lot more in ooh. The bonus stuff. Do not miss the bonus stuff in ooh. It's very missable. The game does not do a very good job of guiding you to it, and it's hidden, but it's not hidden in a interesting way. I think you should just know that exists, and if you like hard puzzles, you should engage with that, because I liked it a lot. Okay, Exapunks, a later Zachtronics game. I think I'm gonna go B tier. It's not my favorite Zachtronics game. It's not my least favorite Zachtronics game. I like it, but it feels a little bit one tricky. You kind of there's like a couple of big tricks that you learn, and then a lot of the levels feel pretty repetitive after that point, after you get that down, which is very different from like TIS 100 and Shenzhen IO, which have those big tricks, but they also have a lot of little tricks, and there's just so much that varies from level to level and like how you should approach them, what you have to think about from level to level. Exapunks did not have that kind of variety to me. I don't think the mechanics facilitated good puzzle design and varied puzzle design quite as well. But I still liked it. I really liked the presentation. I really liked the minigame. Yeah, the bonus campaign was kind of had interesting, unique kinds of puzzles. I like it. Baba Is You, I'm gonna go maybe against the grain a little bit and put it in B tier. I love the concept, obviously, but it has like twice as many puzzles as it should have, I think. I think this game really needed a pair of scissors. The designer needed to take a pair of scissors and just chop off half the game, I think. Like, I mean, it's not just, it wouldn't be that easy. Like you'd have to, I think there are a couple of specific worlds or like specific mechanics that do like, you know, they spend half a world on that specific mechanic that were just not good enough. Like, yeah, I'm not going to name specific ones because it's been long enough since I played it that I don't really remember which ones I liked the least and stuff. But like there's some mechanics that kind of overlap with other mechanics quite a bit, and there's some mechanics, you know, you have a game that's so unique, right? Like Baba Is You. You really want to include, so like the basic concept is really unique, right? But then it has a lot of mechanics like fall, you know, which creates gravity for that character, and you know, like Sokoban mechanics that you've seen in other kind of Sokoban-y games, that aren't necessarily super unique, but those mechanics might interact with the base concept in a way that's really interesting, right? And I think he should have been a little bit more picky to only choose the mechanics, the smaller scale mechanics, the specific word mechanics that interact with, that bring more out of the interesting basic concept. Because as it is, like there are entire areas in the game where it doesn't really feel like I'm getting more out of the core concept of the game right now. It just feels like I'm solving Sokoban puzzles where you fall and where you this and that. Like, the subject matter of the game, of the puzzles, overlaps too much with other puzzle games, and he could have made it a lot less like that, I think. Oh, the other thing is there's a whole DLC. I don't know how many people have even played this, but there's like a whole second campaign for the game, which I thought was atrocious. Like, thought it was like possibly F tier bad. Um, just like adding different words that do not make for good puzzles at all. Like, don't even make for puzzles at all. I don't know how to describe how bad I thought that was. I didn't get very far into it though, so maybe it does get better. But yeah, Bob Is You, I still liked it a lot. Still absolutely worth playing for the concept. And for a lot of the puzzles. A lot of the puzzles are good. Squishcraft. I feel like people don't talk about this game anymore, but really good, like unhinged puzzle game. The mechanics that he thought it was okay to make puzzles out of are kind of unbelievable. Like you look at the first time these things happen, you just think, oh god. And that's a little bit like the Theta and Paradox's game that I'm playing right now. Squishcraft, yeah, I don't know what more to say about it. It's really hard and it's just insane. Like I love games that like you just laugh when you see things just surprise you with how outrageous they are that someone like that the designer wasn't insane enough to include this in the game. Like I just love stuff like that. Just yeah. It's just different, you know? It's just different than just designers that are bold enough to do something that wacky. And yeah, so a lot of the puzzles are actually genuinely interesting to think about as well. Her story, I think I'm putting in the middle here. I don't know. It's a unique. I haven't played anything quite like it. Yeah, it's like borderline BC, but I'll leave it C. Interesting detective game. I'm not the biggest detective game person in general. I could see other people rating this a lot higher, and I would respect that. It's yeah. I like the mechanic. I really like the core mechanic of how you progress in the game. I will say that. Glittermitten Grove. So those who know that Glittermitten Grove is one of the greatest puzzle games. What can you say? What can you say about it though? I don't know. Just leave it at that. Let me just say, if you haven't played Frog Fractions, if you don't know about Frog Fractions, this is the sequel to Frog Fractions. It may or may not be the third game in the Frog Fractions series. I don't know. I don't know how to talk about this without spoiling, but Frog Fractions is worth playing if you haven't played it. And then maybe look into this. Bonfire Peaks, again, just kind of whatever to me. I like it more than Pipe Push. It's from the same designer. I never got into the DLCs, but first of all, the mechanics, the design of the mechanics in this game is kind of a mess. Like things interact with each other in kind of broken ways that don't make sense, but they make for decent puzzles. And I did play through the whole game, I think, the whole main game. Super Puzzled Cat, I gotta bump up to the B tier because I admire it. I didn't finish the game, but I'm glad I played it. It's just you don't see that kind of so it has so many different mechanics. It's like a puzzle platformer. It has so many different mechanics, but it's not like a sandboxy kind of puzzle game at all. It focuses on just a couple mechanics at a time and focuses on specific interactions like a Sokoban style game would. And yeah, it focuses on those kinds of mechanics in a way that no other game really does. I just again wish that they would they would have used the scissors. I think the game has probably more than 2 times as many puzzles as I would prefer. But it has a meow button. Yeah. It's S tier. Yeah. I feel comfortable with the B tier placement, but I'm very glad it exists. And a few puzzles are just so memorable that I like almost want to put it in A tier, even though I also want to put it in C tier. Okay, I want a lockpick. I don't understand why people like this game. It feels also kind of similar to Logic Bombs in that it's got that kind of mixture of like comfy game. Although it's not comfy, it's really strenuous. Like the levels are so complicated that you have to use a lot of brain power to deduce your way through them, and it's always tempting to just get through them by like trial and error or something. Yeah, I didn't get super far into this game. I have the sense that it gets a lot more interesting as it goes on, but I was getting to a point where it was starting to get more interesting, but it was just also getting harder maybe, and I just could not take it. So yeah, it was getting a lot more interesting as it went. So I do wonder what the second part. Apparently there's like a second part that's totally different. So I do wonder what that's like, but I couldn't make it through. I spent a couple hours with it and didn't get to anything that was compelling enough to me. Okay, Recursed. I think I might like it more now, but I think my honest experience was C tier for Recursed. Yeah, it's pretty strenuous. Again, pretty strenuous to think about. You have to like remember the level layout when you can't see most of the level layout at any given time, and there's like this recursion core concept going on that's hard to think about. And yeah, I want to bump it up because the concept is unique, but other games have done that. I mean, it's Patrick's Parabox basically. Patrick's Parabox has done it in a way that's easier to think about, but I don't love that game either. So anyway, it's okay. It's a memorable game. It also just does some weird design things that I didn't like. Anyway, that like don't even relate to puzzles. Okay, Drod. I'm sorry, Drod heads. Some people really love Drod. Uh, yeah, not me. Not me. It's just too, again, way too many puzzles. And a lot of them are just kind of annoying puzzles. A lot of them are just kind of like, I'm kind of doing like Drod 1 through 3. Those are the ones that I've played. I didn't finish 3 though, because it just felt too much like rehash from the stuff I'd played in 1 and 2. If I'd just played 3 only, I probably would have had the ideal experience for me with Drod. But I didn't want to skip the story, and oh, I don't know. I wanted to try the games. Anyway, yeah, I wish that Drod were different because there's a lot of interesting ideas in it, but it's also like each game is really long and has a lot of like, it's just that old style of puzzle design where they don't mind like they're not they're not trying to be as dense. They're not trying to respect your time in quite the same way as a modern puzzle designer would. But that doesn't mean it's bad. Like it was good for the time, you know, or at least it was better. 7 Days to End with You. This is, I feel like this is super unknown in puzzle game circles, but I really admire it. This is kind of a detective. It's like a visual novel slash detective game that is very hard. I don't know if I'd call this a well-designed game, but I played it with Misa, and we had a really good time, like quote unquote co-oping it, which I think is good for like detective-y games in general, because it's really easy to overlook some little thing and like, you know, waste your time for a really long time. I think it helps to have two people kind of covering blind spots for detective-y games. At least detective games that don't have some kind of like safety net for you. Like Outer Wilds has the ship log as a safety net, kind of, right? Like if you misunderstand something that you see, or you forget about something that you see, it's always there in the ship log and it's explained clearly in plain text. So you can always just look at the ship log, right? But for most detective games like Obra Dinn and 7 Days to End with You, stuff like that, like it's pretty easy to overlook one little thing in a way that's not really the same in a more systemic puzzle game like The Witness, or well, The Witness actually is a little bit more like that than most games, but it's not like a Sokoban game where like you can kind of deduce your way to like narrow down the possibility space for where you might be missing something, you know? It's easier to hone in on exactly where you might be missing something. Whereas like in a detective game like 7 Days to End with You or like Obra Dinn, you could be missing something anywhere on the map, it feels like, right? You could be missing something in any scene, like anywhere, like any type of thing. Like it's very overwhelming to try to get unstuck in these games sometimes. And so for that reason, I feel like it helps to play them co-op. Anyway, for this game in particular, it helps to play co-op because it's too hard. Like I don't think they meant to make it this hard. Partially it's like a translation problem. Partially it's just like, yeah, there's some really weird stuff about this game. It's a very unique game. If you like these kinds of games, I recommend trying it. But yeah, it has some serious flaws, but I enjoyed it a lot and I admire it a lot. Monument Valley, super forgettable iOS puzzle game. Monument Valley is just one of those like kind of comfy or atmospheric puzzle games that isn't actually interesting to think about. So I kind of have to put it in D tier. Myst. I mean, I respect Myst for the time, but I really don't think it holds up very well. I think I have to go C tier. I like Riven a lot more. Myst just has a lot of that old school point and click adventure kind of difficulty that is like, you know, the bad kind of difficulty. I think of Myst nowadays, I think of it as just a tutorial for Riven. Like it's getting you used to the types of puzzles that they use before you play Riven and get thrown in the deep end and get completely stuck for like 10 hours straight. But yeah, I don't enjoy it that much in its own right. Honestly, I don't think it holds up super well. The in Riven they also improved the basic interaction of like how you move around, like how the mouse cursor shows you. Are you going to like turn around when you click here, or are you going to turn left, or are you going to whatever? They really improved that kind of stuff in Riven and improved a lot of things in Riven. It's just a better game in every way. Other than, unless it's just too hard for you or something, which it very well might be. But I think Riven is the better game by a wide margin. Antechamber, I'm very fond of. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it solidly at a B tier level, I think. It obviously very unique. There's nothing else like it. It's kind of weird the way that like some aspects of it are a lot less unique than other aspects, and it's just all kind of meshed together. Like there's the weird 3D, that kind of like non-Euclidean space and like teleporting around and like all kinds of, the room shifting around you, that kind of stuff is very unique. But then you get like a little gun that shoots out little blocks and you solve puzzles with the little blocks, and some of those felt a lot less unique. And so it's just interesting that that's in there as well. Like, would it just not have felt like a meaty enough game without that, or what? I don't know, because I don't remember it necessarily, those two parts of the game necessarily supporting each other that much, although maybe they did actually. It's just been a long time since I played it, so probably getting some details fuzzy in my head. But yeah, I like it a lot. Layton, I'm considering this to be like all the Layton games I've played. I haven't played a lot of the later ones, but I've played a good number. I've played probably 3 to completion and maybe more of another 1 or 2. I don't know. I think I have to go C tier. I find it very charming, and those kind of puzzles are enjoyable to me a lot of the time, but also a lot of the time they're not. And they just don't have the opportunity to build on one particular type of puzzle in this format, right? Like the variety puzzle format just doesn't give them the opportunity to sequence the puzzles, to build on the ideas within a particular style of puzzle. Yeah, it just doesn't get deep on any of them, and so I prefer a more focused puzzle game. But it is what it is. It's good at what it does. Shenzhen, is it S tier for me? I think I'll put it A tier. One of my favorite Zachtronics games, maybe my favorite Zachtronics game. I already talked about it a little bit before. Yeah, just love how hard it is. Love the way in which the bonus campaign is really hard. Like solving specific problems that are weird and push the game's systems in different directions. Yeah. There's just so much depth to this concept. I love how, I think Matthew Matosis talked about this in his review of this game, but the chips, the concept of putting chips together on this grid, and then within each chip you have code, it kind of evolves the TIS 100 code concept in a way that relates back to Space Chem, how you have to place the factory or connect the factories. That's like there's different layers to the puzzle, right? And I think that creates more depth in a certain way that kind of offsets the loss of depth from the assembly language in this game. The assembly language in this game is not quite as rich with cool tricks as the TIS 100 one, but the chip thing kind of offsets that in an interesting way. And I think it's really, really well done. This is almost an S tier for me, but I'll keep it A. I'll keep the S really exclusive. Speaking of S being really exclusive, this is just the GOAT, right? That's just the GOAT. Void Stranger, I kind of hate this game. I kind of want to put it in F tier, but there are parts of it that I liked a lot. I really liked the snake puzzle. That was like the most unhinged puzzle in the game. There are 2 standout moments in this game that are incredibly unhinged. One of them is the snake one, and then one of them is, I can't even say what it is because I don't remember what the actual hint for this puzzle is, but it's a kind of La Mulana-esque unhinged kind of puzzle that I'm thinking of, and very late in the game or in the post game, depending on how you think about the structure of this game. I love the structure of this game. I just love how weird this game is and how it has these layers and layers that you keep peeling back and they influence each other in interesting ways. And like, I I like it when a game gives me an interesting experience of peeling back those layers and solving puzzles to figure out more and more of what this game even is. I love being involved in that kind of mystery, and I love it so much that I feel like this game was manipulative to me. Like, I sat through a lot of boring stuff in this game because I wanted to see more of the mystery stuff. And there just was not enough and not interesting enough mystery stuff that it felt like it paid off for me. And yeah, it's a really interesting game. I, in some ways, admire it, but I also, in some ways, hate it. And I feel like D tier is fitting. Inside is another one that I don't even know why I included it. Like, as a puzzle game, I don't know if this is very good. Do I want to move Danganronpa up? Here's what I want to do. I want to be a little bit more strict here. I want to move Void Stranger to F. Honestly, now I'm tempted to move some of these other things to F. Scribblenauts to F. Okay, but Inside is not F. I don't know. The D and F feels wrong, because, like, these are the games that are more special. So why am I putting them in F? Why don't the forgettable ones end up in F? Am I about to swap the entire D and F tiers? I think I am. I think I'm about to swap the entire D and F tiers. Okay, anyway, let's get Inside out of F tier, because it's definitely not F tier. I like Inside. It is what it is. For that kind of game, it does it better than any other, I think. This is just hilarious that this is what I'm doing right now. Okay. Does this feel good? It doesn't. It feels a little too strict. Let's bump up a few. Superland is at least unique. Tetrabot doesn't feel like it was that bad. Drod has some things that I like about it. One, a lockpick felt like it was going to get more interesting. All right, this feels good. Hex Cells is good for what it is, but it's just really not for me. Inside, yeah, I don't know. The puzzles are whatever, but like the puzzles integrated into the experience are really good, I think. This has some crazy art direction and polish. Like, there's some things in this game that are crazy. Okay. We're like, are we halfway through yet? Probably not. Okay, let's try to speed it up a little bit. Talos. We're going D on Talos. I've talked about it before, but the puzzles are just so repetitive conceptually. Like, there's a few tricks that you learn early on in the game, and they just repeat the entire game, and I can't do it. The story is okay though. Kind of like the story. Maybe I bump it up for story. And the DLC is a little better, and some of the bonus puzzles are kind of nice. Yeah, we'll keep it C. Riven. Tempted to put Riven S tier, but there's some stuff that's kind of frustrating about it, and yeah, it's probably it's like too hard some of the time and not hard enough other times. But anyway, it's a really special game. It's a really special game. I think I want to put it in S tier. Yeah, it's a really special game. Yeah, I think the flaws are not enough of a problem for me. There's just nothing like it. Like, the way that it leans in so hard on world building, and the puzzles are almost a secondary thing to the world building, but you have to solve the puzzles to get places, but it feels so much more natural. It is still forced in, it is still unnatural sometimes in certain ways, but like, yeah, it's like you feel like you were trying to understand this world the whole time, and the puzzles make sense with it in a certain way that other games don't even try to do. And when they do try, they fail. And this expects you to make some huge, crazy leaps. The difficulty of this game is outrageous. Like, I didn't know if I was going to be able to finish it by myself, even when I came back to it as an adult, like very recently, actually. But yeah, amazing game. Amazing game. Lock. So I actually played the non-digital version of Lock, but I assume Lock Digital is like the same. I don't know. It might barely make the B tier. It's a kind of Witness-like. I don't know. I have forgotten too much about this game, considering how recently I played it. I think I've forgotten too much about it for it to justify a B tier placement. But it does some things that are different, that are interesting. The concept is interesting, and it doesn't overstay its welcome or anything like that. But yeah, it's kind of forgettable, I guess. Jelly is sticky. Kind of hated this game. Extremely forgettable. Extremely repetitive. There's just not that much to it. There's nothing to the mechanics that I haven't seen in other puzzle games, pretty much. Really didn't like it. Yeah, so we got Jelly spanning the entire tier list here. The Gostak, I think I'm putting in C. Like, it's an interactive fiction game where you like learn a fake language and use the fake language to interact with the game. I don't like it. I just didn't like it as much as a lot of people do. Yeah, I didn't feel like learning the language was anything. I didn't think that it didn't make deep, interesting things happen in my brain. It just felt like a layer of obfuscation, or not obfuscation. It just felt like a layer of thing that I had to do to interact with the game. It just didn't spark any strange activity in my brain that you might expect it to do by being such a weird game. Like, yeah, the actual experience of playing it was not near, did not live up to the concept in terms of how crazy it actually felt or how strange it actually felt or whatever. Mostly it just felt like playing a pretty good interactive fiction game, which I don't like interactive fiction games that much. Like text adventure is what we're talking about here. So yeah, I'll go C tier. English Country Tune. This is one I feel like I should revisit, but I think I'm gonna go C tier for that as well. It's decent, but I didn't finish it. But I found the puzzles kind of hard to think about sometimes, and I wonder if I would have a better time with it now, being better at puzzles. Pony Island. It's memorable. Is it quite memorable enough to go to B tier? It's like, yeah, I don't know. I liked it a lot when I played it, but no, I like it. Yeah, I liked it a lot when I played it. Yeah, we gotta go B tier. Yeah, there's just nothing else like it. It is a puzzle game. Like it is much more puzzly than you might think from what kind of game it is. And just the type, it is too easy, and some of the puzzles are kind of tedious, but like the types of puzzles that you're solving sometimes in this game are pretty different from any other game I can think of. And it's just a good, tight experience. Like, yeah, it's solid. Type Help. I wanted to like this game. This is a text adventure kind of detective game. The ending I found a little bit unsatisfying, and a lot of the quote unquote puzzles are more just like, this is a problem that these detective-y kind of games run into a lot, where they're less puzzle solve. The activity that you're doing is less puzzle solving and more bringing together information from different sources. Like, there's no actual puzzle. You just see, like, over here you learn that A implies B, and over here you learn that B implies C. So you put those together and you learn that A implies C, and it's just obvious if you have those two pieces of information. It's obvious that they slot together in that kind of way, and like, yeah, just the whole game felt like a lot of that. But there were the concept of the story concept is very cool, and I like how that fits together with the mechanics and how you move through the game and how you progress through the game. But disappointed by the actual content of the game, I guess. Like, some things about the story didn't make total sense, I think, especially the meta parts. Yeah, wish there were more real deductions to make. So I tried Lingo. I didn't play it for very long. Maybe not even 2 hours. But I really want to like it. But the first one, I get the sense that the second one is better in this regard, but the first one is just really sloppy design wise. There's stuff that you have to figure out that's like, huh? Just like not, just like totally totally off topic difficulty. And like, yeah, the consistency of the on topic puzzles was also not great. I just didn't make it far into it. I think if you want a word game, that's kind of witness like, you go Octogram every single day of the week. You go Octogram. I might even put this D tier. Yeah, I'll put it D tier. I get the sense that 2 would at least be C tier, but I haven't tried it. The Looker, I find it kind of offensive, honestly. It's not mean-spirited like the guy who made the game. It's a parody of The Witness, right? And the guy who made the game obviously likes The Witness, and has made it clear that he likes The Witness. But I actually do find it a bit mean-spirited, especially the parts about the audio logs. It's just the type of thing that you don't find funny, or at least don't find very funny if you understand what's great about the audio logs in The Witness. And the problem is, almost no one understands what's great about the audio logs in The Witness. So it's tough. We Were Here, I just picked one of the We Were Here games. Oh, but yeah, it is kind of, I mean, it's a creative game. There's interesting stuff in it. If you approach it as a real puzzle game, The Looker, you approach it as a real puzzle game, like, some of the puzzles can be kind of annoying. Like, I remember it didn't give me credit for like a line that I drew in a certain way that I couldn't imagine why it wouldn't give me credit. And then I started trying other stuff for a really long time before I tried the first thing again. Like, There's just that kind of janky stuff, like, low effort parody game, what you would expect from this game. But there were also interesting and funny things in the game for sure. We Were Here Together. So I'm just doing the entire We Were Here series. I think I'm gonna put it C tier. Yeah, it's very much the type of thing that you get out of a solid escape room. The consistency of the puzzles is not great as you would expect from a normal escape room. But yeah, it's fun sometimes. As a co-op game, there's not a lot of great co-op puzzle games out there, so it's cool for what it is. Heaven's Vault, I kind of hated it. I didn't understand what the puzzle was supposed to be even. And I felt like it was wasting my time. It was so slow. It was so slow paced in a way that wasn't justified. I couldn't get to the part where anything was actually a puzzle. It just was so slow and I couldn't find the puzzles. But apparently this is a puzzle game. I don't know. I don't know. Someone tell me if I'm missing something there. Taiji, I think B tier is appropriate. Like, you know, it's a Witness like very self-consciously. It is almost trying to be like a Witness clone as much as it possibly can be within like a 2D game. It's like Witness worship almost. But it does a very good job of that, and it does things, there's far worse games to be directly obviously inspired by than The Witness. And it has really nice art direction and stuff for like basically a one-man project. And yeah, it does enough that's different to be absolutely worth playing. I liked the final secret thing quite a bit. A few of them in particular, a few of those final secret things in particular. World of Goo, I think I gotta go D tier. This is like one of these games that people used to hail as like the greatest puzzle game ever. Like, I guess some people really still love the physicsy, sandboxy feeling kind of puzzle games. I just don't get it myself. It always feels like they're so it feels the same as like a Breath of the Wild puzzles or Tears of the Kingdom building a machine type of puzzles. I don't really get why that would be interesting. I just really don't. I like a more constrained rule set and constrained puzzles, constrained level designs, as I've said. Like, you can make a puzzle game that's much more focused on the things that are interesting if you lead the player more directly to the specific things that are interesting. So yeah, I just always assume that there's nothing interesting in there. Like, when they don't lead me to the interesting things, I just assume it's not that interesting. Space Kim, up here with Shenzhen as one of my favorite Zachtronics games. It's a banger. It's a little hard to get into. The tutorialization is really bad because it was their first game. I think it like links you to somewhere outside the game to like watch the tutorial, like a YouTube video. But yeah, once you get the basics down, it's really interesting. I also think it goes on, it overstays its welcome a little bit. Some of the late game puzzles were a little painful, but the mechanics are really unique and good. And yeah, it's a different angle on the Zachtronics thing than the later games, even though I might say I like TIS 100 or Shenzhen more, but Space Cam is a different angle and it came first, which, that's notable. Gorogoa, I think I have to put in B tier. This is like barely a puzzle game. It's like a much more point and click style, but it's just a very unique experience. And I think it's thematically very interesting. Yeah, the reasons I like it are very different from the reasons I like everything else on this list. So again, maybe I shouldn't have included it. But yeah, really unique quote unquote puzzle game. Don't know what more I can say about that. It's been a while since I played it. TIS, yeah, already talked about it. A tier, banger. La Mulana, I think I have to go B tier. There's a lot that I don't like about La Mulana. La Mulana is another one of these ones where I feel like I should go both A and C, so I feel like I have to put it in B. Yeah, I had some amazing transcendent moments with La Mulana, and I also had some very painful, frustrating moments and a lot of wasted time with La Mulana. And it's one of those games that the mystery, like I was talking about with Void Stranger, the mystery compels me. I want to see more of this game because I'm so curious. Like, it gets my curiosity going. Like, this was one of the most captivating games I've ever played, La Mulana. But that's not necessarily correlated with how much I felt it was worth it after the fact and how much I admired it after the fact. Like, The Witness was top tier captivating for me and top tier felt worthwhile after the fact. Whereas uh, La Mulana and certainly Void Stranger like were top tier captivating, and it felt maybe not earned to some degree. But La Mulana I still like a lot overall. It just at some point gets unhinged in ways that make for a bad experience, I think. At least for me. I also really wish it just told me to use a notebook instead of having a mechanic in the game that lets you take notes, right? Like the fact that you have a mechanic in the game that tells you to take notes. I know that literally everyone says when you play La Mulana you should take notes, but when I played the game, I was like, oh, there's like an in-game notebook, so it feels kind of like I'm going against that aspect of the design if I take my own notes outside of the game. I should just use the in-game note-taking tool. Like, I would not have included that, and I would have specifically said use a notebook. Anyway, I don't think it would have. I probably would have had a better experience with the game if I had used a notebook, but maybe not better enough to reach A tier. Not sure. Monsters Expedition I like a lot. I don't know if I quite like it S tier. I think I'll go A tier. I think yeah, it's a little. There's a little bit too much at every stage of the game. There's a little bit too much game. They needed the scissors, but the bonus puzzles, the secret, more meta puzzles, I really, really enjoyed. I got lost in that for many hours. And yeah, they're different from I'm putting it in S tier. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. The main game, and solving all the regular puzzles, it's too much. I don't like having a lot of easy puzzles to go through before I get to the part of the game that I like, or that's really for me. But it's relatively breezy. You can get through it pretty quickly, and then there is a lot. Like it's a small amount of overall play. It's a small percentage of overall play time going through the easy puzzles. There's a lot of meat to the secrets. It goes crazy, especially now with the update. There was a big update in like 2022, or I don't know, sometime a couple years after the base game came out. They did a big update. The game is just huge, and I really enjoyed a lot of it. So yeah, S tier feels appropriate. Yeah, if main game was too easy for you, definitely stick around for the post game. But I also like that it exists as an entry level Sokoban game. For a more normal, more normal skill level puzzle game fan, because a lot of the best puzzle games are just tuned for the hardcore players, which obviously I like that as well. But it is nice that this exists. But it does annoy me that when games are two different difficulty levels at once and I have to deal with both of them, right? I have to play both of them. I want just a whole game that is tuned for me and a different game to be tuned for someone else. Or at least, you can also just do difficulty levels. You can make different sets of puzzles for different skill levels. Anyway, the gain insight thing that's becoming popular is sort of in that direction, but I still would prefer just a curated full experience of easier versus harder puzzles. Infinifactory I liked. Yeah, I'd say I liked it about as much as Exapunks. Yeah. I think some of the optimization stuff in this game is pretty interesting, but it felt kind of grindy getting to the end of the main puzzles. Yeah, it's the only 3D Zachtronics game, so it feels weird putting it in C tier. It feels like it should. Yeah, I'll put it in B tier. I think it's worth playing. Yeah, it's got stuff that's different about it compared to the other Zachtronics games, but I almost want to put it in C tier. There's a lot that yeah, it felt like it went on too long. It felt like not all of it was super interesting. Tunic. I think I gotta go S tier on Tunic, which is strange because a lot of what I like about it is kind of derivative. I guess I can just say it does things that are derivative from The Witness, and then the like actiony stuff is kind of Dark Souls. Well, the exploration-y kind of stuff is Dark Souls, and you could say the bosses are kind of Souls-like in a way. All the different elements of the game feel kind of derivative, and there's this main concept of the manual that is really nice, and there are some other big picture cool things about the game, but they don't really affect the experience of playing the game most of the time. The experience of playing the game most of the time is like kind of a different version of things I've seen in other games. but it's just all so well done, and it's a nice cohesive package, and it didn't waste my time. I didn't feel like it ever wasted my time, really. Now, if I were worse at action games, if I struggled with the boss fights, like some people I know did, I would feel differently about that. But for me, it didn't waste my time. And yeah, it's just a really carefully put together game. Yeah, it just does what it does extremely well. And there are a nice number of surprises in the post game secrets and stuff. Yeah, post game was amazing. Golden Idol, I think I gotta hit with the D. Maybe this is offensive, but I just couldn't get that far into it. It very much felt like a putting the information together game more so than a puzzle solving game, like I was talking about with Type Help. Maybe less so though. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have included this because I really need to give this game another chance. I didn't get that far into it. I have heard there's more of a puzzly game of like figuring out the meta story that goes between the different levels. I don't know. I'll keep it in C tier. It's got nice art direction and stuff sometimes. Like some of the scenes are just interesting in a purely like presentation-y kind of way. Yeah. Yeah. As a puzzle game, I was kind of disappointed, but I should probably give it another go sometime. Oberdin. So I still haven't finished this game, which makes me hesitate to put it in the A tier. But I feel like when I go back to it and finally play it for real all the way through, I feel like it's likely going to end up in the A tier. But I feel like I have to put it in the B tier for now. Again, I'm just not as big on these detective-y games as some people are, as most people seem to be. Yeah, I mean, you have to admire the way that he crafted this game. You know, the story, the visuals, just the uh just the sense of cool, it's just a cool game in a lot of ways. Portal 2, I think I'll go C. I don't know. There's nothing quite like it. Like the co-op is nice. The co-op puzzles actually are pretty nice. But yeah, not all the game totally hits the mark for me. The new mechanics they added feel kind of forced and arbitrary, and it's got that kind of, the single player especially has that kind of characteristic Valve design where just it feels like you're playing this game where all the rough edges have been sanded off, It's they have polished it through playtesting to a point where nothing interesting is allowed to happen, right? I was talking about Squishcraft and how unhinged it is, and I like these games where weird stuff and crazy stuff is allowed to happen, and because they're trying to sell to a mass audience, they do not allow things like that to happen in the later era Valve games like Portal 2. So yeah, not a big fan of that. Helltaker, F. Easy F. I don't think anyone likes this for the puzzles. Does anyone like this for the puzzles? I think they like it because there's anime girls or whatever. Yeah, I thought the puzzles were not good. They weren't even like hard, not good. They were just not good and easy and boring. The bridge, easy F. This is one of these things that's like unique in a way that's like, it's obviously inspired by a certain like visual artist, and it doesn't feel like it's adding anything to that aesthetic or it's using that aesthetic in an inspired way to make something new happen. It's just taking that artist's work and using it in a shallow, attention grabby kind of way. I thought the puzzles really sucked, but it's been a while since I played it. Could be misremembering, or I could have been missing something at the time, but it also just felt very slow. Yeah, I don't know. Islands of Insight, another easy F, actually. I think everyone knows why I don't like this game. I don't know. I only played the demo, but the demo was pretty meaty and I couldn't get to anything that I liked. Yeah. It's just an open world that has very little reason to exist other than to sell copies. And it didn't even manage to do that. It didn't even manage to sell copies. The actual puzzles are just puzzles that I could find. I could find better puzzles if I go out of my way to find difficult logic puzzles on certain, or like in the Thinky Puzzle Games Discord, I could go to the Pen and Paper Puzzles channel and find better puzzles, I'm sure. Or at least a better curated set of puzzles for me. Didn't like it. Islands of Sea and Sky, whatever it's called. When I played the demo for this, I actually tweeted about it saying the demo was one of the best things I played like all year. This was several years ago at this point. And then somehow in the 4 years between the demo and the game, I just didn't care at all when I played this game. I just did not care one bit. Yeah, I was kind of baffled when I played it. Like, did my taste change this much? Did I play so many other puzzle games that I just got sick of these kind of ideas? Or is it just because a lot of this is like, replaying stuff from that was in the demo, so like I got to just get through it. But then I got through it and got to new stuff and I was not enjoying it. Yeah, I don't know. I thought this would have kind of a comfy Zelda game. Like it's kind of got this Link's Awakening vibe that I really like. Yeah, I thought it would be the good version of combining comfy puzzle game with hardcore puzzle game, but I just bounced off of it really hard. I don't know. Maybe I should give it another try sometime, but not sure. Chips Challenge. This game sucks. The worst version of old school puzzle design where yeah, it's just because you played it when you were 5 or whatever, but it's just the worst version of old school puzzle game design where it's just trial and error. Like you just try something and you don't have all the information on the screen at one time and it's just trying to trick you in like stupid ways that aren't even funny or interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some of that stuff hit at the time in a way where it doesn't now, but yikes. I don't like it. Ace Attorney, I'm just doing the series overall here. I can't help but like it. Some of the puzzles I have problems with the specific puzzles sometimes, but I can't help but like the series overall. It's just full of character, right? Like the music, the animations and the character designs, the scenarios, the writing for the scenarios. Like I almost want to bump it up to A, but that seems crazy because I struggle to even get through the games sometimes. But yeah, B feels appropriate. I respect the series a lot. I'm always tempted to go back and play more of them. Like I haven't played the great Ace Attorney games. I probably should. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I don't remember much about the game, honestly. It just, I mean, it's cool that they tried this different kind of perspective for a game, different type of puzzle game. But yeah, it feels like it's for 5-year-olds. Yeah, I kind of like it. I feel like there is someone. I feel like there is an audience that likes this game. That this game is good for. But yeah, not for me. Really not for me. Braid. We're going all the way to the top with Braid. I love Braid, man. I think it's so underrated still. I think even the blowhards, right? Bread. Yeah. Bread is definitely S tier. Even a lot of the what am I saying, man? Even a lot of the blowhards, the big Jonathan Blow fanboys underrate Braid, I feel like. When I first played it, I underrated it. When I came back to it, I understood what he was going for with the story a lot more. I understood how I don't know what I want to spoil here. I'll just say there is a thing that people focus on, and I think the way that the game presents it, people focus on the wrong aspect of the story. And I think that is a failing of the game, but there is all this other story stuff that people do not focus on in the right way. Like the main chapters story writing, I think is really excellent and frames the gameplay in a really nice way. And the gameplay and the story interact in such a way that it elevates what would otherwise be, good but not amazing gameplay for the main story. Honestly, the gameplay for the main story is still really special, just because it's playing with these mechanics that you don't see anywhere else. And like, even though it's not that hard, it's weird. The main game puzzles of Braid are like not that hard in an absolute sense, but because it's so unique, because it's so different from anything else you've ever played and hard to wrap your head around, it's like so different from the way the normal physical world operates. The rules of the game are so different. It's like the game can get away with being a little bit easier and still in some kind of absolute sense and still feel harder than it is. Like, yeah. But then, yeah, it has extra stuff that, yeah, I feel like it's inappropriate to talk about that too much, but that's also a big part of why I love the game. So I feel like I have to mention it. The stuff that is most missable about this game, story and otherwise, is what makes me love it the most. I will say that. Yeah, I could talk about the game forever, but I won't. The Root Trees Are Dead, kind of hated it. Kind of hated it. Insane game for its time as well. Yeah, absolutely. Braid was one of the most... When people talk about most influential or most important games ever, I want to put Braid in there. I really do. Because, like, the number of great games that probably wouldn't exist in the same way if not for Braid is wild. But, of course, people just don't think of puzzle games as important or influential in general. So it's hard to make that claim. But for me, I think Braid is one of the most important or influential games ever made. Like if you consider, yeah, when it came out and everything, I would easily rank it above Doom or maybe even above like Super Mario Bros. It's hard to say that, but like for me, when I think about important or influential games, I was talking about this on Twitter recently. I have to think about the counterfactual. Like, if this game did not exist, would these ideas still have come about? How likely is it that these same ideas would have come about in the next 5 years or something anyway? Right? Like, were these ideas kind of in the air? Like, I think a lot of the ideas for Doom were kind of in the air, and design-wise, Doom is not as influential. Design-wise, Doom is not as influential as people often give it credit for. I think without thinking, they really give it credit for stuff that was really just in the air, and was a kind of already happening anyway. If you look at some of the arcade games at the time, and like even Wolfenstein, like it's a lot of the way there. Anyway, yeah, Super Mario Bros. I think originated a lot of things, but I do wonder how much of that would have happened anyway. If a lot of it feels like low hanging fruit in a way that the design of Braid feels like if we hadn't gotten that, we might not have gotten all these later great puzzle games. So yeah, it's hard to think about these things, but my point is, I think Braid is much more influential and important than people realize. Portal, I like it more than Portal 2, maybe just because I played it first, but it's more of a focused game. It's more focused on what's unique about the concept than Portal 2. It at the time that I played it when I was really young, so the fact that it was really easy probably didn't really bother me. Yeah, the humor was not quite as cringe back then as it might be now. I'm not sure if it would be, but Good Snowman again kind of falls into this Draknek category. It's got that kind of Draknek puzzle design that just doesn't really do much for me. Maybe it's just because the systems aren't interesting enough to justify that long of a game. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, it just doesn't stand out in my memory much at all. It's just crazy that he made Monsters Expedition. Like all his other games are like firmly C tier to me, and all the games that he like funds and publishes as well. Like Bonfire Peaks and stuff. Anyway, Pack-a-Rat Down the Bun Burrows. I want to like this game for how unhinged it is, but I didn't. I'm going to go C tier. It didn't feel like it was respecting my time. It felt like a lot of the stuff in there was repetitive in terms of what I was actually thinking about and kind of a chore. And that's what I didn't like about it. I also think that the core concept is kind of difficult to think about in a way that, like the puzzle rule set is kind of difficult to think about in a way that is maybe not great. I don't know. Maybe I would get used to it if I played the game a bit more. There's interesting stuff in the game, and I like how crazy it is, but like structurally crazy. But I couldn't bring myself to keep playing it after a while. Fez I really liked at the time, but I've really soured on it. I think I should put it in B tier though. I was so young when I played it that I don't know if it really fits with my current taste to put this in B tier at all. Like I almost want to put it in D, but because I actually did try to play it again because I've forgotten so much about it that I tried to play it again. So we'll consider my replay attempt as my experience with Fez. It takes so long to get going. Like, I mean, it gets straight to the point in terms of you get the Fez really quickly and get to the point where you're doing the crazy 3D world stuff very quickly. But that's actually not the part that I loved about the game. That's not the memorable part about the game for me. The memorable part is the post game, the crazy borderline ARG puzzles. This was the first game that really made me go full schizo in that kind of way, and I really admire it for that. But when I tried to play it again, I couldn't get past the base game. So we're gonna give it D, I think. Opus Magnum, I'm gonna give a C. I think it's a really good intro to Zachtronics. But yeah, I think if you can handle the harder Zachtronics games, you should start with Space Cam or TIS 100. It just doesn't have the depth. I don't know. I've heard that there's like crazy glitchy, the super ultra hardcore Opus Magnum community has figured out like ways to abuse the systems to make crazy stuff happen. So maybe that's interesting. Maybe it's interesting in a speedrunning, like, not a normal experience with the game kind of way. But Normal experience with the game, I thought it was kind of not that interesting, pretty repetitive for Zachtronics standards. Yeah. I recommend it if you think TIS 100 or Space Cam or Shenzhen is too daunting or whatever. So you can at least see what the Zachtronics thing is all about. Tokitori. We'll start with Tokitori 1. I remember it being pretty bad. It's very old school puzzle design, like some of these other games I've talked about. And yeah, just super forgettable though. Tokitori 2 Plus I wanted to like, but yeah, again, this was so long ago that, it's long enough ago that this Steam poster is like this format. Like it doesn't have a normal Steam poster. I wish I remembered more about Tokitori 2 Plus because I remember thinking that it was interesting, like the structure of the game and the progression and stuff like that, but it also felt kind of time wasty. And the subject matter of the puzzles I just didn't think was that interesting. Like the mechanics were just not that special. Obduction. I think Obduction is a B for me. It's kind of the follow-up to Riven many years later, and it definitely does not hit the highs of Riven because it's a lot easier, which you can't blame them for that. I still enjoyed it a lot. The world was really compelling. It had a lot of new ideas. Yeah, it was just interesting. It didn't have as much to it as I would like. It didn't. I mean, it's maybe in some sense a bigger game than Riven, actually. Probably a bigger game than Myst, but yeah, because it's just pretty easy and you can kind of breeze through it, it doesn't feel like there's as much to it somehow. Not as memorable as Riven, for sure, but I still like it. Steven Sausage Roll, definitely up there. Do you even have to talk about Steven Sausage Roll? Like what can I even say? Like it's Steven Sausage Roll. It's the most crazy, like super tight rule set leading to cascading series of consequences for the puzzles and for the possibility space, right? Like it starts you with the rules that seem so simple. Like you surely will have to add new mechanics to keep this interesting as the game keeps going. And they add nothing. They just different arrangements of the levels bring out more and more possibilities in the puzzles and in the rule set and in the yeah, just more and more. And it's unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable. And it makes for really good puzzles a lot of the time. And it's really hard. I don't love the last stretch of the game, which is quite long, but you can just play the first half or whatever you want to call it of the game, and it's peak. And honestly, still a good game. Still an amazing game if you play it all the way through. Like it says a lot about how much I like the first half that I really don't have strong feelings about the second half, but I still think it's S tier easily. Okay, a few more. Outer Wilds. I'm including the DLC. Even if I didn't include the DLC, I like the DLC more, but even if I'm not including the DLC, it's S tier easily. There's just nothing else like it. You kind of have to compare it to Riven because it's the same type of thing, right? And they're both amazing, but totally different in terms of why I like them. Maybe not totally different, but they just hit totally different vibes. The experience of Outer Wilds is a much more smooth, it's frustrating sometimes. There are setbacks and there are things that are challenging, but for the most part, at least for me, like it was very smooth. Even the DLC, which was harder, was a very smooth experience. It's like I'm going on it felt more like roller coaster ride through all these crazy ideas that the developers had and through this crazy thing that they've built. But it also, you also do get into the world, just not to the same degree as in Riven. But yeah, it's just a lot of amazing ideas that you don't see anywhere else and that couldn't possibly fit into most of these other puzzle games that I'm talking about. Swapper, it's okay. It's got a unique mechanic that I like, but I don't know, felt pretty forgettable. I don't think the mechanic is super suitable for like great puzzle designs. It's not conducive to amazing puzzle designs. So I think I'm going C. Manifold Garden, I'm going C tier. I like the crazy secret thing that it does, but not enough. Mostly it's just a vibes game, I feel like. The puzzles are just there to facilitate you going through the vibes. And I would maybe rather just walking sim my way through the vibes. I don't know. I think I would maybe just like a harder version of the game. But I don't know how possible it is to do that with these mechanics. Maybe the mechanics just don't really work well with hard puzzles. But I think they kind of do, because I remember struggling with this part of the secret thing a little bit. Anyway, yeah, I wish they leaned more into the unhinged kind of structure. Like visually, this is a crazy, mind-blowing type of game. But then structurally the game is kind of boring, and like gameplay wise, what's happening in your head kind of boring a lot of the time. Um, yeah, I feel like they could have. I feel like they had an opportunity to make it crazy gameplay wise and structurally as well. Which I guess structurally the secret thing does that a little bit, but yeah, overall disappointment for me. Oddworld, you gotta admire it. Really great game for the time. I haven't played Exodus, and I should. Yeah, I've only played the first one. I should play Exodus, but um, yeah, it's just a really special game. I don't know how much I can say about it. It's been a while, but yeah, there's it's one of those old games. Old games from that era often had great atmosphere, great world building, and stuff like that. Great presentation, but really, really, really fell flat on gameplay. And Oddworld is one of those few games that the gameplay held up well enough. Like Riven, I would put in that same category, but even more so. Yeah, the gameplay in Oddworld is pretty interesting. There's things about it that are like kind of jank, old game jank, but overall, really special game. Cosmic Express. Just the exact same thing that I've said about every other Dracnet game that's been in the C tier. Okay, that's easy. Creeks. Creeks is B tier. Yeah, and that's it. Creeks is B tier because so this is from Amanita Design, who are known for more point and click games, but this is much more. People don't even realize this. It's a systemic puzzle game. Like it's a puzzle platformer with quote unquote real systemic puzzles. Like figuring out how to make deductions, use the interesting interactions between the different objects to do, solve things. Like it is totally that type of thing. And yeah, it's cool to see that kind of game get this type of design attention from a studio that's usually more about the visuals and stuff like that, the vibes. Because it's a really great looking game, and they did this thing where I guess they really didn't want to have an undo or a reset the puzzle button or whatever. So like every puzzle is fully reversible. You cannot get into a situation with any puzzle where you can soft lock it, right, and have to reset, because there is no reset. They just didn't want to have a reset button, and that is a really crazy constraint to make a game with. So the fact that I don't think that really enhances my enjoyment of the game is just interesting, but it's interesting to me that they were still able to make a game that I thought was this good while operating under that constraint. I said that the reason that I wanted to do this week is to give myself a little bit of a break, but it ended up being kind of strenuous. But there we go, 100 puzzle games that I have played. Pretty happy with it. I think this makes sense.